Previously on Balls.
Mac in studio with us, ready to give us a sports roundup and forecast. And Ian, it only feels right that we chat a little bit about Nelson Mandela this morning. And apparently some famous sports stars have been sending dedications to him.
Yeah, Roger Federer had some nice things to say to him, about him. And I think, there's been lots of kind of hassles around Madiba at the moment, all kinds of logistics and squabbles and so on. And I thought it would be nice just to chat about some of the good stuff.
Sure.
I think we all kind of love Madiba, the man, and the politician, but then we all have our own elements of the man that kind of snuck into our hearts, you know.
Sure.
It might be his use of language or any number of things. For me, it's Madiba, the boxer.
Awesome.
And I have this theory. I think Madiba and I would have been great housemates and boxing buddies. I can just imagine us maybe at varsity, waking up in the dead of night for a title fight on TV live from Vegas.
He was a big fan, hey?
Yep, he did a bit of boxing. So picture that scene. We grab our duvets, go down. I'll make the coffee. Madiba probably made some
the popcorn.
rusks. Yeah, and watching the fight. And I do have some proof that this would work out well because, I'll read you this quote from Long Walk to Freedom from Mandela. I did not enjoy the violence of boxing so much as the science of it. I was intrigued by how one moved one's body to protect oneself, how one used a strategy both to attack and retreat, how one paced oneself over a match. And that's really kind of a summary of what I love about boxing. I'm not so much a fan of the big punches, but that sort of delicate art of moving your head so you make your opponent miss.
And I think that's something that girls don't appreciate about the sport from the outset, is that there is a science to it and there is a lot of, there's a technical side to it. It's not just guys punching each other up.
Yeah, I think that's kind of everyone's understanding before they really get to know the sport, that it's just a bit thuggish. Certainly, me and Madiba, we prefer the sort of subtler side, the
art
defensive,
of boxing,
the art, the sweet science.
And when was it? What phase in his life was it that he was boxing?
I think the main one was when he was in and around Joburg and Soweto practicing law. He certainly boxed at a community centre in Soweto, and that iconic photo of him sort of shadow boxing on the roof of a building in Joburg was with a little lightweight chap called Jerry Molloy, who actually went on to become the Transvaal lightweight champion.
Okay.
But I think he's lucky it was only shadow boxing because Madiba was a fair bit larger than him at that stage.
Maybe we'll put that photo up on Twitter for you. So it also might be nice to get one of the people from the community boxing centre in Soweto onto the show just to chat about their memories of Madiba, the boxer. Yeah,
I'm sure some of them are still around and remember Madiba before he was Madiba and just a boxing guy at the gym.
Yeah, blowing off some steam. All right, well then it's only fitting to talk about the next boxing game coming up, and it's South Africa's Tommy Oosterhuizen has a big fight this weekend.
Yes, although just on the terminology, Hales, we're learning not a boxing game. We prefer bout,
I'm
match,
sure I said fight, didn't I?
clash.
Oh, okay. All right, no, good. You need a nitpick, and you need to pick me out on this. So the clash.
Yeah, you're improving. I think you used sort of boxing, sort of something far more playful last week. So we're getting there.
Okay, what man clash is happening this weekend?
Tommy Oosterhuizen, Tommy Gunn. He's our super middleweight. He fights this weekend on HBO in the US, which is kind of one of the big steps a boxer has to make to make the big time.
Okay.
He fights a chap called what is his name? Gonzalez, who I don't know much about. He sounds like a good fighter, undefeated. But Tommy, I think Madiba would have enjoyed Tommy. Tall, lanky, smart fighter, and I think if he uses that long jab of his, keeps out of range, and it attacks when the time is right. Very few super middleweights can beat him.
So it's a big deal for him, though, to be on an HBO fight.
Yeah, very big step. He's on the undercard of a major fight, so all the boxing world will be watching him.
Okay, so good luck to Tommy Gunn. Let's get all the testosterone out the way. Onto EFC. It made its debut on SuperSport last night.
Yeah,
I even watched about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and what did you think of the main fight, Don Madge against Costa Ioanu?
I still feel that they spend too much time rolling around on the floor.
Yeah, it's one of the big concerns about MMA. That can be boring, but I think in this case, it was exhilarating.
Unbiased opinion entirely.
Well, look, those two guys, I mean, firstly, because they're two brilliant practitioners. Even if you just know some of the basics, like I do, you can really appreciate, well, firstly, the endurance. I mean, I don't know how they kept going for that long. And the skill involved to, just for example, when there's a sweep, the chap on the bottom sweeps his man and in a split second ends up on top in a dominant position. That's all fantastic skills. But agreed, that's an issue that you need to be a bit of an aficionado to understand.
You need more kicks and punches and less spooning. That's my opinion.
Yeah, less sort of sporting sleeping type.
Exactly.
Competitive sleeping.
Exactly, but definitely I think it's only going to get bigger now that it's on SuperSport. The number of people I know that were watching it last night that would never have been watching it if it was still on the other channel.
Yeah, and I think it'll keep growing. It's hard to say how many more people have the sort of institution for that sort of roughness. It is a rough sport, but certainly some growth left. Yeah.
And yay, finally we can talk Wimbledon. I'm such a traditionalist. I love Wimbledon. Although this week has seen the heartbreak of Federer being knocked out and people slipping and sliding all over the show. So Nadal's out now, Federer's out, Sharapova's out. All the big seeds are falling.
The big seeds have been falling. Some of the hot chicks have been falling, which is a concern for many tennis fans.
Oh, it's a shame. Yeah, terrible.
I think I might have fallen a little bit in love with Mandy Manila during her match, and she's sadly gone.
Where's she from, Mandy Manila?
I don't know, and I'm not really too worried. I think she's French. It was a very brief romance. But yeah, it sounds like it might have been from the wet spring that the grass is very slippery, but they've had many wet springs before.
This is London.
So I'm not quite sure why they're slipping more than usual.
I heard that the grass might be more sugary than usual.
I don't know about
what that means. Yeah.
I haven't heard that. I don't know. We'll find out.
So all pressure on Murray now, hey?
Yeah, lots of pressure on Murray. I think since his sort of teary moment after losing last year's final, the Brits have really sort of warmed up to him. But he hasn't fooled me. I still think he's just a nasty Scotsman with a sort of very crude technique, and I'll be backing Djokovic, yeah.
Okay, and Kevin Anderson won yesterday, and who does he play next? Do we know yet?
Yeah, well, Kevin has been fantastic. He admittedly in the first round it looked a bit like bullying. He was playing against a sort of jockey-sized fellow who certainly looked like a jockey next to Kevin, but he's been very good first two rounds. Next round he plays Thomas Berdych.
Oh no!
Who is kind of turning Kevin into his bunny.
Oh no!
Kevin beat him late last year. But I think he's lost to Berdych 4 times this year without beating him.
Oh,
so
dear.
I think it's a mental battle. He's got to convince himself that he can beat him.
Do you know when that's on? Is that on this weekend?
It should be tomorrow. Normally it's about a day between, depending on rain though.
Jeez, it would be so nice if he could get pulled through to like the quarters or something like that.
And he can, especially if that serve of his is booming. That'll take care of his confidence very quickly.
Well, I'll be sipping my tea and eating my strawberries, and I'll be glued to the TV this weekend. And there'll be a lot of other people glued to the TV this weekend because the Tour de France is starting, one of the most watched sports events in the world. And do you think our Borchi that we're going to claim, Chris Froome, can nail it?
I do. he's certainly the favourite, and funnily enough, we might have a slow hippo to thank for that.
A slow hippo.
Yeah, apparently one of his mates reckons he was out training with Chris. He grew up for some time in Kenya before he moved to South Africa at sort of high school age, and he reckons they used to go out sort of marauding and adventuring on their mountain bikes, and he sort of one day got chased by a hippo, and it sounds like he was quite an adventurous fellow in those days. But yeah, he is.
So he escaped a charging hippo.
We don't know exactly the story. His mate reckons he got charged by a hippo.
Wait till the French press get hold of that.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I'm sure they'll have some typically French quips about that.
But I mean, of course, he is a deserving winner. He could have won last year, and it would be nice to see him finish.
Yeah,
Finish
I mean,
first.
he is certainly in top form. He's been winning of late. He's won several races in the build-up, and he seems to be pretty happy with the fact that the race is quite balanced. That you'll need to be a strong climber and be good at those sort of time trial races.
And be a secret doper.
Yeah, that's going to come up again.
You
and it'll be
can't talk
big.
cycling without it coming up.
Yeah, it'll happen. I don't know how to deal with it. I just kind of ignore it mostly.
And just kind of enjoy the ride, excuse the pun. Okay, so that's the Tour de France starting this weekend, and then this weekend we back to Super Rugby. It's been such a nice break from Super Rugby, having a few test matches, and now it's back to the final stretch of Super Rugby. What's on this weekend?
Yeah, well, we've got there's a game on at the moment. That's the Chiefs Canes, and then Saturday the big one. We got a couple of big South African derbies. The Bulls are playing the Kings. For me, the big one is Stormers Cheetahs. I'm kind of looking forward to that, just to see how the teams react to arriving back at Super Rugby in this new situation. Where the Stormers have great talent, not much to lose, so they can start attacking a little bit more.
Yeah, they don't have much to lose, but the Cheetahs certainly do.
Yeah, so the Cheetahs, and they're seeing how the Cheetahs react to that pressure. Be nice to see how some of the book stars perform. Willie LaRue, always fun to watch. Be nice to see Sia Khaleesi, how a bit of international experience impacts on his confidence.
Cool.
So I think that's the clash to look out for me.
And that's on Saturday. That's tomorrow morning early at 9 o'clock. Is that right?
No, that's the evening game.
Okay.
That's the 7 o'clock game.
Oh, much better. Okay, so Saturday evening we've got the Stormers versus the Cheetahs, and tomorrow morning we've got the...
Yeah, the morning game is the Highlanders Crusaders. And
Okay,
then,
so that's the one at 9.
Yeah,
9
just after
a.m.,
that is the Lions Australia, which will be another.
which is
That's
always...
the second test of that tour.
Okay, so that's your rugby action coming up this weekend. And then the Crazy Hard Sports Quiz. Darren's just entered the studio. Maybe we can see if he's got any ideas, see if you can stump both of us. So what's question number 1? And of course, you can send in your answers. You can tweet me at Hayley Owen SA. We're going to ask you to tweet the answer to the third question today, and we'll announce who got it right. So hit us with the first one.
Okay, first question, the Crazy Hard Sports Quiz. There's a white memorial a couple of kilometers from the summit of the Mont Ventoux. Mont Ventoux, which the tour will be summiting this year. One of the iconic summits of the tour, although it's not used terribly often. What is this memorial to?
A white memorial, as in the color white.
Yeah, almost looks like a gravestone, little white memorial. Just on the side of the road.
And I'm sure the commentators have about 5 pages worth of facts about it.
Oh, yeah. Paul and Phil will know all the details for you.
Okay, I've got no idea. Is it a memorial to a cyclist?
It is. It's to a cyclist called Tom Simpson, who was first Briton to wear the maillot jaune, the yellow jersey. Quite a colourful character. And he died there in 1967.
Oh.
He was... I think it was leading on the day and gunning it up the Mont Ventoux, which is sort of almost a lunar landscape, very sort of unforgiving, and it was in the heat of a French summer. And, well, to add to that, he was drinking brandy, which was not uncommon in those days.
During the race?
Sipping on brandy during the race. He was also, we found out later, on amphetamines, also quite common at the time. Yeah, he started to look a little bit sort of green in the gills, and collapsed, just fell over on his bike. There were a couple of bystanders. Apparently one was a team mechanic, picked him up, put him on the bike, and his famous quote was, "On, on." Apparently. He didn't look like he could speak to me at that stage, but that's the quote in the books. He carried on for another 8 yards or so, collapsed again, and died.
Of heart failure? Or?
I don't know. I think it was heart failure. Essentially, his
Sure.
body just gave up. He pushed too hard with too many chemicals
In his system.
inside him.
So that was the British cyclist in the 60s. Might be worth YouTubing and seeing some of the footage of that.
The footage is on YouTube. Very interesting to watch.
Okay, so what date do you put in?
That was in 1967.
1967. Okay, and British cyclist, what was his name?
Tom Simpson, also known as Mr. Tom to the French press.
Darren, don't go anywhere. We've got question number 2. Okay, hit us with question number 2, Ian.
Question 2. Let's see if Darren can get this. What is the most frequent scorecard entry in South African Test cricket history?
And by scorecard entry, you mean
Well, it's
bold.
how a wicket happens. So it could be if I was bowling, Darren batting, and you caught him behind, it would be bowled, McLeod, caught Owen.
Okay, so the most frequent scorecard entry in South African Test cricket.
Of any entry.
Any type of entry.
Dot.
No, it's a wicket.
Oh, wicket entry, okay.
Good thinking, though. Lateral.
Dots is the most frequent. Would be caught. Caught behind.
But you've got to put the names in, so you've got to say, what's the most frequent combination of names in a wicket?
What,
So-
you actually want people's
So
names?
bowled, Scott, caught Owen.
That's caught, wicket keeper, bowled. Oh, do you actually want the
The
players'
names, the actual players.
So the pair
Caught
that scored.
Boucher, bowled. Well, we are highest wicket taker. Who would have been? Caught Boucher, bowled. Pollock.
Correct, sir.
What
Too
was that?
easy.
Bold, Pollock, caught,
Caught Boucher.
Voucher. Okay, thanks, Darren.
But there's an
Too
extension
easy.
section. There's an extension, Darren.
Yeah.
Internationally, what's the record? Or who holds it?
Internationally, the record would be.
It's also bowled someone, caught someone.
Well, Boucher's taken the most international catches behind, so it would either be the same or it would be caught Healy, bowled, Warren. No, but he didn't take so many catches behind. Now let's go caught Boucher, bowled, Pollock as well.
Not a bad guess. They're pretty close, but the record holders, the best double act, caught Marsh, bowled.
Called Marsh, bowled, Lily.
Lily, correct.
Hey, there you go. Not bad. So in South African Test cricket, the most common combination of wicket takers was bowled, Pollock, caught Boucher, and internationally, again, Lily and...
Marsh and Lily.
I like that question. Nice. Okay, we've got the third question coming up. We're going to play a song while you tweet in your answers. Tweet me, Hayley Owen SA. Fire with the third question, and we'll see who our sports buffins are.
Last question. At the 1956 Olympics in Melbourne, which country hosted the equestrian events?
So did Australia, obviously. Why didn't they host the equestrian events?
The reason is part of the question.
Okay, we'll give it.
Tell me why it wasn't in Melbourne, Australia, and where it actually was.
Okay, so 1956, in the 1956 Olympics in Melbourne, which country hosted the equestrian events? That's the third and final question from our Crazy Hard Sports Quiz this morning. Tweet us your answer. Question of the Crazy Hard Sports Quiz after Darren dominated the second question. The question was, at the 1956 Olympics in Melbourne, which country hosted the equestrian events? We've got no correct answers. No one's tweeted the correct answer.
Man, are you sure people aren't just worried we're going to recreate the nipple tweak incident from Sasha's recent quiz?
I didn't even know what a nipple tweak quiz was, and then it's, if you get it wrong, you have to go get your nipples tweaked? Is that how it works?
Oh, you watch the video. I'm not prepared to explain.
Well,
what I
apparently
saw.
that's what went down with Ian and Daisy yesterday in the studio, the nipple tweak quiz. We're going to have to come up with a different kind of punishment for our quiz on a Friday morning. But hit us with the answer there.
The answer: the 1956 Melbourne Olympics. The equestrian events were held in Stockholm, Sweden.
Oh.
The reason was, because of what do you call it? Quarantine rules in Australia. They wouldn't allow the horses in.
They were too strict.
Yeah, it's a bit like when we try to take biltong and so on in there.
Oh, so it was actually divided between Stockholm and Melbourne.
Yeah, so must have been a little bit of a downer. The spirit in Stockholm can't have been quite like in Melbourne, I don't think.
Not at all. Well, that's a nice little bit of trivia for you if you're into your sports trivia. And Ian will be back next Friday to give us some more sporting forecasts, some more another roundup and another quiz. But thanks for coming in this morning.
Sure. See you
What
then.
you up to this weekend? A lot of sport on.
Sport, and this weekend, something different. The big Poiky Pot cook-off tomorrow. I'll be
Yes.
involved in that. I believe you're going as well, are you?
Yes, we had the organizer on the show not too long ago, and it's going to be, I'm a Poiky cook-off virgin. I've never been to one of these events, so I'm very intrigued to see how it all goes down.
Yeah. I have warned my team that I've been banned from cooking in 2 separate household kitchens. So I'm doing coffee and then sort of just trying not to ruin things.
I don't know how much coffee is going to be consumed at that at that cook-off, but enjoy that. And next week we'll be talking British Open, Tour de France, and a bit more Wimbledon.
Yeah, I'm sure. See you then.
Cool, looking forward to it. That's Ian Mack on Balls.
The Hayley O Show. Every Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Only on balls.co.za.